Michigan State traditionally struggles against Duke. They also traditionally struggle against a zone defense, and you put that together and you get your first loss of the season.
You are Locked On Spartans, your daily podcast on the Michigan State Spartans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Today's episode of Locked On Spartans is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Spartan friends, Spartan family, Locked On Spartans listeners, how are we doing? Which is kind of a dumb question after Michigan State gets their first loss on the basketball court this season to the tune of 66-60 against Duke. But nevertheless, if you're feeling still happy because it's a good weekend, or if you're a little down in the dumps, either way, guys, thanks a lot for making Locked On Spartans part of your daily routine right here on the number one ranked Locked On Podcast Network. And let's get into it. Obviously, I'm bummed right now. I'm not going to be as bummed as I usually am about games, and we'll get more into that in a little bit. But yeah, it'd be disingenuous to start a show after a defeat, just kind of skipping and telling you how things are just all great. And they still are, I think, but that's a bummer. That was a bummer because Michigan State had that game in hand for quite some time. I mean, they were as good, if not better than Duke in many parts of this game. Now, unfortunately, games are 40 minutes long and not 33 minutes long, which would have really helped our case today. But yeah, first and foremost, I'm bummed that that's a win that would have looked shiny on the resume come the end of the season. Not to already be thinking 3 months ahead to Selection Sunday, but that feels like a seed line game right there. It's a quad one win, and we'll see how many of those Michigan State will have from this little non-conference slate that they've already run through. I think North Carolina, they should stay in the top 50 of the net. That'll be a quad one win. Kentucky, they're trying their damnedest to get out of the top 50. But hey, Arkansas, we'll see if they can slide into the top 30. If they're a top 30 net team, since that was at home, that'd be a quad one win. But anyway, we'll stop nerding out and already panicking about Selection Sunday. I'm more so bummed for not just ourselves, right? Not just the fans that love to beat Duke in the very rare moments it does happen, but more so the players, because there are some players that had outstanding performances out there. No other than Carson Cooper, not just tasked with having Cameron Boozer assigned to him on the defensive end. And yes, he did have some double team help, but many a time it was just straight up Boozer and Cooper. Let's let these two guys waltz. Let's see who comes out on top here. But on the offensive end and on the glass, Carson Cooper, 16 points, 16 rebounds. God, it sucks that they couldn't win, because this would have just been a glazing of Carson Cooper, as the kids say. But hey, it still can be. I mean, we've talked about him on the show so far this season. He's now had more double-digit scoring games so far this season alone than he has the first 3 years of his career combined. And his body control, the growth that he's made in his athleticism and coordination, finishing at the rack of those two alley-oops to start each half. God, I really wish that they could have won that game for Carson Cooper, or even Jaxon Kohler, who I know kind of faded away in the second half, but when you have as strong as the first half as he did, I mean, golly, he kept Michigan State in the game and was the reason they were leading at halftime with his 12 points. But look, he had some okay games from other guys too. I mean, at the nicest you can call Jeremy Fear's game nice. He did have 13 assists. He did his thing where he drew a bunch of fouls, but we'll get to the other part of that box score later on. And yeah, I thought Jordan Scott played a really fine game. 5 rebounds, 6 points, which doesn't seem like anything earth-shattering, but man, as a freshman, this kid does all the little things right. So that's why I'm more so bummed. Look, maybe it's because I'm in a somewhat of a positive mood this weekend because of all the fun things going around Michigan State, right? Like, we are just making it rain with $100 bills from Spartan Stadium after that donation on Friday, right? Like, there's a new energy injected into this football program. The basketball team is still fine. And maybe that's why I'm just netting out at, you know what? Like, it sucks to lose to Duke, right? Like, I'm not thrilled. I wish they have won that game. But I'm walking away from that game kind of feeling validated as a Michigan State fan, feeling what we have felt about this team going into this game, that, okay, this is a top 10 team. This is a team that can, in theory, win any single game against any opponent they go against. I know they lost this game I know they lost it by 6. I know it was at home. But golly, I mean, and again, maybe it's because I'm just like optimistic this week, which you guys know isn't always the case here. Maybe it's because they already walked into this game 3-0 against their tougher non-conference opponents, and this would have been all gravy. But man, today was just a shining example that, yeah, they can stay in any game, no matter the opponent, no matter how bad they're shooting the ball on offense, it seems like, right? Like we already saw it earlier this year against Arkansas, just one made three-pointer. Okay, well, our defense and our physicality and our rebounding is going to drag us to the finish line. Kind of like today against Duke, guys. A Duke team that is a top 5 defensive team. I know that the number 60 on the scoreboard sucks. They shot horribly. They shot actually their worst that they have all season by a percentage. And their free throws, it was fine. 71%, nothing to write home about. But there's almost no shame in having a struggling offensive performance against Duke. And maybe I'm just coming off as a loser, right? I mean, hopefully if you guys have listened to episodes in the last few weeks over football season or last few years about basketball, hopefully you know I'm not always like this after a loss. But man, you get the 4th tallest team in the nation in Duke, and they've turned that in to their opponents coming into this game having the lowest effective field goal percentage, their top 15 in block percentage. That is a really good, if not best in the nation, defensive team. Okay, and yet you kept it close the entire way. They have a 3-point shot that hits the rim like 4 times, falls in to ice the game at the very end. And, well, of course, they have a guy that's probably going to go on and win the Naismith Award. So I'm sorry to play moral victory podcasting right now, but that's truly genuinely how I feel after this game. Now, why did Michigan State lose? Are there still some problems? Yes, but they're not problems that we just unearthed all of a sudden. Like the 2-guard position, even Izzo said after the Iowa game when they won by, 40 points. He said, okay, well, we got some things to figure out at the 2 position. We've kind of already known that this team wasn't going to be always a reliable shooting team, if you will. And that's why they lost. I mean, and Izzo in the postgame press conference, he said that he didn't have his team ready to play the zone. Duke hasn't really played zone all year. And then it wasn't the traditional zone that you usually see. It was the 3-2 zone, which really limited Michigan State getting inside. And there were probably some coaching adjustments that could have been made there. I don't know how effective Cohen Carr is in a 3-2 zone. I love Cohen Carr. I want to make that crystal clear. I mean, I might as well just wave pom-poms and have the name Carr tattooed on my back. That's how much I love him. I just don't know how effective he is against a 3-2 zone, especially when he gets the ball in the perimeter, takes one dribble at most and immediately picks it up in kind of the weird corner situation. Now he's got to make a tough pass. We saw that happen too many times. So, yeah, once Duke switched that zone after 2 or 3 possessions, I'm kind of feeling like, okay, I'd be thrilled if we made at least 3 shots from the rest of the night here on out. And I don't even know if they hit that mark here. So it's an underwhelming game. And there are some guys that just played okay at best. And it kind of sucks to say about Cohen Carr because, well, yeah, he had 10 points. He was also 0-3 from 3, 4 of 13 from the field. The free throws, especially in the front end of a one-on-one there late, 2 of 5 from the charity stripe, and you know Izzo's going to have a cow over that. And look, hey, if we're going to sing Jeremy Fear's praises all the time, and I still think he is easily a top 5 point guard in the country. I mean, he was dishing out the assist early on. He was doing what we know best, and that is drawing fouls and getting under the other team's skin, but under no circumstance can you shoot 10 times in a game and hate to do his celebration, but let's have fun, right? 0 of those shots out of 10. He had some promising moments so far this season. I'm not going to go out as far as saying Jeremy Fears is overrated, which I know it's probably a very, very, very minor population of the fan base, but there are already some people that are jumping on that ship of, Jeremy Fears, overrated. Okay, let's call him. It was a bad night for him. Okay, I think that he's shown enough so far this season. He can hit a 3. He can hit a floater. Look, I think he was really bothered by the length there. And if you're not able to get inside into those lanes, which they weren't able to do against the 3-2 zone, ball game. Truly, ball game. I mean, what other argument can you have with that? But look, guys, I'm bummed. Could have won. Should have won, maybe. I don't know. I feel like you play this game 10 times on Breslin Center's floor. Michigan State wins this game 5 or 6 times. You play against Duke on a neutral court. You're winning maybe 4 times. you play this game at Cameron Indoor, maybe you slide away with one victory, but I'm feeling okay walking away from this game because I'm also peeking out the window here to other Big Ten teams because, well, that's what's coming up next. And that's no disrespect to the Toledos of the world, the Oaklands of the world, but the next fish to fry is now the Big Ten conference season, obviously. And you're looking around. Guys, if you feel bad about this performance against Duke at home, losing by 6, go travel down to Purdue. Okay? I'm not sure how much fun the West Lafayette folks are having right now after Purdue got beat by, 30 points against Iowa State at Mackey Arena. Like, okay, you see that happen? Maybe that's another reason why I'm just not pulling my hair out and lighting the studio on fire, just so angry. Because Michigan State, I think, has already proven going into this game that they are an upper-tier Big Ten team, upper-tier team in the nation. I leave this game because of what I saw against such a good and talented Duke team, thinking the same way. And then you look out the window and you see what else is going on in the Big Ten. Purdue, and they're still a really good team. Michigan, they've had some really good wins too, but Michigan State also has some really good wins in really impressive fashion. That's it. Maybe the air of a Saturday, and I just love the weekend. Maybe that's just getting a little bit too much to my head. Guys, if you disagree, hit me up, lockedonspartans@gmail.com. Leave a mailbag question, leave a comment, or, my God, if you're really feeling yourself, agree with what I'm saying, guys. I'm not saying that you should be walking away, just skipping with a smile on your face, but I don't know. I feel like the first month of the season's done, and this has already exceeded expectations, and nothing that happened today takes away from what we've already seen so far this year. God, I still wish they won. All right, guys, we're going to talk football here because there's some big defensive coordinator news. There was also big recruiting news on Friday. And then let's talk a little bit about this donation here. But first, need to talk your ears off about Gametime. That's right, the greatest way to get tickets, especially for the holiday season, guys. Let's say you have no idea what to get that Spartan in their life. How about tickets to an upcoming basketball game? And how about you save money when you buy that gift with Gametime? Because, guys, you can save on flash deals. Or let's say you're a procrastinator. You realize, I forgot to get you a ticket. It's currently December 20th. So I'm going to get you an early Christmas gift. Well, let's just buy these tickets at Little Caesars Arena for Spartans against Oakland Grizzlies. Guys, there's so many ways to save with Gametime. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. No surprise fees. It's a very quick process with Gametime. So, guys, just make your life simple with Gametime. Download the Gametime app. Create an account and use code LOCKDOWNCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, download the app, make an account, and use code LOCKDOWNCollege for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Gametime today. Also, guys, bring the meat this holiday season, right? Omaha Steaks, they are going to make your holidays so simple because, Omaha Steaks, they are always there for you year-round, of course, but especially in the holiday season. Now, guys, when you want, both things handled on the move, we're talking feeding people and just finding gifts that people actually love. Omaha Steaks is the way to go. From hosting to gifting, they deliver the world's best steak experience right to your door. And guys, during their Sizzle All the Way sale, which I love that name, Sizzle All the Way sale, you can stock up and save in a huge way, 50% off site-wide at omahasteaks.com. And it gets even better because Locked On College listeners, you get an extra $35 off with code COLLEGE at checkout. Guys, save big on gourmet gifts and more holiday favorites with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide during the Sizzle All the Way sale. And for an extra $35 off, use promo code COLLEGE at checkout. Terms apply. See site for details. That's omahasteaks.com, code COLLEGE. All right, let's switch it over to the football field here because breaking early on Saturday from the one, the only Justin Sin, who could be on the show in the very near future. That's right, he's making his return here. Joe Rossi, your defensive coordinator the last 2 seasons here at Michigan State. He is coming back as defensive coordinator. And I like to think I've got a great pulse of the fan base. All I do is talk Spartans and talk with other Spartans, get emails and tweets from Spartans. I eat, sleep, breathe, all things Spartans. But even this one, I wasn't too sure about. And when I say that, I mean the reaction of what this would be, Joe Rossi coming back. So I went over to Twitter. I did what I do. I put out a poll, and I said, per Justin Sin, MSU football is bringing back Joe Rossi as defensive coordinator. Spartan fans, thoughts. Gave you 2 answers, thumbs up or thumbs down. Really had no idea what the results would be. After 1,623 votes have been tabulated, There is one overwhelming majority, and it's the one that I reside in. It's a thumbs up. 81.6% of State fans, and I know Twitter's not always indicative of real life, but that's also like a sour environment to do a poll in. Usually it's a little bit more negative than real life actually is, and yet we're at 81.6% to bring back Joe Rossi as defensive coordinator. So I'm a fan of it. I like it because there's a few reasons. And the first one, I think there's a lot of validity to it. And it's one of the big talking points with people that like this move. That Joe Rossi, who necessarily did he have to work with last year? I mean, not to put other people down or anything, but let's have an honest dialogue here. Starting at one of his defensive ends was a guy that lost his starting job at Texas Tech the year prior. Like, he's playing a guy out there for 30, 40 snaps that was a spot starter at East Carolina last year. One of the starting defensive linemen, well, he was a backup at Florida State. This was kind of an island of misfit toys at a lot of positions. Now, certainly he had some talent, right? Like Jordan Hall, I like to think is talented. Unfortunately, Malik Spencer, Nikai Martinez, that's great, except it doesn't seem like one of them were always injured during the entire season. So not to make, excuses for Joe Rossi, but I don't think he necessarily had the tools proper to make this an upper echelon Big Ten defense. Now, here comes the other part of that equation is, let's just load up the defense with great talent. Let's just give him a good, talented defense. You know who else wants talent on their defense? Pick any school in the country. Everyone's going to be shopping for some talent here, whether that's defensive line, whether it's getting another linebacker in the mix, whether it's, you're going to have to do this again, supplement many areas of your secondary. It's going to be a tough sell here to a program that hasn't been to a bowl game in 4 years, that really just has stopped getting players drafted at any position largely, especially on the defensive side of the ball. You're going to have to overpay for a lot of these players in the portal. And I know that we just got this great $401 million donation. Thank you, Greg and Dawn Williams. I know you're listening right now. Thank you very much. But yeah, I agree. Rossi needs more talent. Let's go out and get him somewhere in the portal. That is way easier said than done. I also don't mind bringing back Joe Rossi as defensive coordinator because of who your head coach is. Pat Fitzgerald, also another defensive mind who's going to have a lot of input, I would assume, on the defense this season. So it's not just you're relying entirely on just the mind of Joe Rossi if you think that was the problem this year or last year, which I do not. I saw a defensive coordinator the last 2 years try everything in the book. Try blitz-heavy games. Try games where we're just going to drop back into coverage because, we ain't getting to the quarterback anyway because our blitzes don't get home. I saw exotic blitzes. We've seen so many different game plans for Joe Rossi. It's that I don't really think that, it was just between the ears was his fault. I think he's a good defensive coordinator, but look what he had to work with. But now, hey, what's better than one? You get two defensive minds very high up with Pat Fitzgerald and Joe Rossi. And we'll see what this means for player retention. I mean, could this persuade and help guys like Jordan Hall coming back? We got the question a few weeks ago. Who would you want to protect on this roster to have come back next year? Jordan Hall, obviously one of the players that I want to keep around. Aiden West, young cornerback. That was the only other defensive player I had. And on the other side of the ball, Nick Marsh, he's already gone. Alessio Milivojevic. And then the third guy just threw out Connor Moore for some continuity at offensive line. And speaking of offensive line, there was some exciting recruiting news on Friday. There was, and I did not expect this because, hey, Wednesday, when we did our early signing period show, we talked about how, this is actually probably a thumbs up. If you had to grade it between a thumbs up and a thumbs down, I would have called signing day positive. Yes, it just got inside the top 50. It's the 46th ranked class. It's not a class that's going to lead you to the college football playoff in 2 or 3 years, most likely. But it was one that stayed intact, largely. And you got some 4 stars that stuck around. Eli Bickle, your quarterback, Cade Kaufman. Sure, that was all fun, but you're also missing some guys too, like Samson Gash, 4-star wide receiver out of Detroit Catholic Central, who looks like the smoke is blowing to West Virginia for that. And then the other guy, across the country in Arizona, 4-star Colin Campbell. And I was nervous because Wednesday night, when our heads hit the pillow, Sure, he's like the 25th or 24th ranked offensive tackle overall in the country. But by Wednesday night, after the first day of signing day already went by, he was the highest ranked offensive tackle, still not technically signed anywhere. Everyone in front of him already put pen to paper, and you get the change at coaching staff. He hasn't signed, and you're starting to think, well, this guy could really drum up some drama here, drum up some offers, drum up really probably whatever he needs because, let's not kid ourselves. Offensive tackle, very important position, and you got to do it all with the kid that is, 2 or 3 time zones away. I forget how far Arizona is. I'm sorry, but I kind of was thinking, okay, well, let's just hope that you could hold on to him by February and hope that a lot of opposing programs just have the raw number and have no way to contact him. But guys, you know how this one ends. Colin Campbell, he did commit to Michigan State. He did put the pen to the paper. He signed. So that is a sigh of relief, and that is another big win under the Pat Fitzgerald era right now, guys. So look, your offensive line class is Jack Ziarko. That was a late flip from Miami of Ohio. And then you get Eli Bickle from the great state of Michigan. You get Tristan Comer, and then now Colin Campbell. That's not bad for an offensive line haul. Just one thing. Who's our offensive coordinator and who's the offensive line coach? Hopefully we get those hires made here pretty soon, but I'm not panicking. I mean, things seem to be going pretty okay enough for the football program, despite the quick turnaround with everything. Or things are going to be okay here. Now, guys, let's talk a little bit about this donation here because we talked about it right before the weekend. We talked about what it is and isn't. I mean, look, it isn't all just going to go to buildings, right? Like this For Sparta initiative, they came out with all those building renderings. Spartan Stadium's going to get tricked up. And that is actually, if you listen to the earlier show, you would know this. But from what I know, what I've gathered, that Spartan Stadium project, sooner than later, like maybe even as early as like 2028 or 29 when they break the ground for that, that is very near to getting the board approval, which I believe comes up in January or February. But look, a lot of these are like pie in the sky goals that they have, like for the courtside suites at Breslin Center. No, like Spartan Stadium is pretty much at the 1 yard line to have that project actually take place. But on top of that, because the details of this donation here, $390 million of it are going to go to the athletic department. The other $11 million is going to go to the Eli Broad Business College and an entrepreneurship portion of the school as well. But part of the $390 million, $100 million of it will go to Spartan Ventures, which I believe will be used for like NIL. Now, what that means is not that Michigan State has a $100 million salary cap just for next year. Like, no, we can't just go out and buy anyone at any number. No, that money is going to be sustained for some periods of time. I'm sure they'll collect interest on it, scrape off the top of that, use that for NIL. So it's a seismic donation. It's going to help with a lot of things, but NIL, like, I don't think we've just turned into Texas Tech overnight, right? Like, I don't think we've just turned into BYU basketball all of a sudden. We're doling out $4-5 million contracts for our guys. It helps. It's awesome. But, like, I would tamper expectations for what that means for NIL. But I thought it was a really good press conference ceremony. I like that Greg Williams got to speak and talk about how, you know what, like women's basketball games at Michigan State were a great bonding experience with his daughter, and he just wants to give back to the community, a community that he started giving to with a $5 donation to the Wharton Center back in the 80s, I believe he said. So, look, As humble as people that rich can possibly be, that's what they came off as at the press conference. So, look, we also knew this, too, going into the announcement that no naming rights were attached to this. Now, should that happen in the future? Sure, possibly. Like, if he wants to have his company Acrisure or Acrisure, I'm sorry, I don't know how to say the company's name. You think I would because it's plastered everywhere around Breslin Center, and that's all we hear about these days. But should they want to buy, like, a tower at Spartan Stadium, which that could be a route they go, like, oh, the Acrisure East Tower, for example. Yeah. But even Greg Williams himself said, like, he didn't want to take naming rights away just now because that could be used for a future financial gain for the school. So what I found the most shocking when I was actually looking around, like, I can't believe this guy didn't even graduate from Michigan State, right? Like, I just assumed that this guy was like a Eli Broad business college graduate. Like, no, he's just, grew up close to the school, has made a lot of great memories here. Obviously very close with the coaches, mainly Tom Izzo, who both were teary-eyed during this press conference. Yeah, it was nothing short of awesome. And what we heard beforehand, that it was going to be a staggering number. That an eye-popping number was another word people used. Yeah, that fit the bill. So, look, it's going to vault Michigan State. I think it's going to be used as rocket fuel for Spartan Athletics, is what Jay Batt said. And yeah, a donation like that really cannot speak to how much of a change it's going to make around here, just as a whole. Like, that stadium's going to look popping. And hopefully it gets started here sooner than later. Guys, we'll be back tomorrow night. I'm going to talk about the only Justin Sin, should both of our schedules stay intact right now. But, guys, we're going to have a full slate of shows next week, as you already know. We're going to talk football. We'll talk basketball, even though they got a week break between games. And, yeah, guys, if it's going on at East Lansing, we're going to talk about it. Locked on Spartans, because that is all we do. All right, guys. Well, hey, take care of yourselves the rest of the weekend. Until next time, love you all. Go Green.